This is the Los Pollos Hermanos chicken coop door design. I'm Mark Wilcox.
I'm Cameron McLaughlin.
I'm James Harris.
And I'm Colin Butler. So when we first started this project, we were given different parameters as to what our chicken coop door had to look like. And from here we started to just kind of get basic ideas as to what we wanted our door model to kind of look like. So we began doing research. And we found this design, which we kind of based our demographic and what we wanted our chicken door to look like. And we settled on the target audience of people at home who have chickens as pets, who just use them for eggs occasionally, and also small farmers who may not have a lot of chickens, who just need a door that opens conveniently for them whenever they walk outside and want to let their chickens out, and when they want to close the door when they come back in at night.
Alright, so at first we drew this design. We were essentially going to have the motor be on a pulley system, and that would bring the rope up, but we realized very quickly that the motor wasn't going to be strong enough to handle that amount of weight based on the door weight. So what we ended up doing was we put the motor right over here and attached it right onto the piece of wood that contains the rope. That way we could get all of the, maximize the amount of torque that the motor provides. Additionally, we implemented the use of the ultrasonic detector right here, and that will send ultrasonic waves and bounce them back, detect if there's anything within the range of motion that I coded onto it, and that will then prompt the motor to move depending on which direction you want it to move.
Oh, this is me actually. So I was in charge of the cab designs, and as you can see, this is still like at the earlier model part. We still had this like kind of overhead box where we thought the motor and assembly was all going to be, but we realized when we were testing, and we didn't have this in a fixed location yet, that it really didn't need to be that high. And we realized we could mount it pretty close onto the actual structure, right just above the door, giving it enough room for it to pull up a total of 12 inches. But you can see in our CAD designs here, this was like the inside cylindrical wooden piece that would be used to hold this rope right here. And this is the full scale of it, and then here's the individual part of just the motor. So here's some more pictures of us like actually testing it. We didn't get exactly all the pictures at every step, but here's just like some pictures of us testing it, and you can see how the rope's like connected to this door with this really tiny hole that we drilled through, and then put the rope through it, and then the motor here on the side just turns it and winds the door up.
So yeah, our first round of testing, our main things were testing how much rope we should use, how far the door needs to come up, and how far it needs to go down. And that was mainly involved in the code, stuff like that. We also wanted to test how far out this sensor would activate. So the purple color is moving it up, and then the pinkish color is moving it back down. So we had to test that. We had to test the distance between those two. We also wanted to test the power source. So we figured out that our first round of testing that the 3 AA batteries was not enough. So when the second round of testing came around, we did the 9-volt battery. And then some major differences between our first and second round, where we added these little pedestals in to kind of keep this cylinder in place. We also added this barrier right here to protect the inside of the chicken coop from predators, weather conditions, stuff like that. And then because we did that, it also changed the height the door needed to rise up off the ground, so that was altered in the code.
In the second test that we did, we essentially just created the entire working design. We added in this frame right here because we didn't have that at first, and that would prevent not only predators from damaging it, but also the chickens potentially leaving. So that was a good addition to the design. We also were able to get the motor perfectly in there and put the head of the motor, or the arm piece, on the cylindrical piece of wood, and then lock it into place, and then have it move in and out for the manual part of it. That way it doesn't necessarily slide out as much, and it has more torque. And so we were able to do that, and throughout our second testing, we basically just ran the Arduino through the circuit board, and we tested which parameters we needed to adjust for it to go all the way to the top, and then for it to raise all the way to the bottom. Because at first we didn't necessarily have it completely hit the gap at the bottom. We didn't really account for gravity, so the parameters had to change for the clockwise motion and counterclockwise, and that's what we covered in our second testing period.
Here's just some images from it. Here's kind of pretty much the final product that we had. We had put this plate on the front. Here's us kind of like showing how to do the manual. Here's us with our hand in front of it, just showing the automatic portion with the sonar.
Alright, and just to describe some of the final design pieces, the circuit, it's just got 3 pieces to it, well 4 if you count the breadboard, but it's got the breadboard with the ultrasonic detector on top, just for the motion sensing. In this box we've got here the power source for the 9-volt battery, and that's going to be with the circuit board. The circuit board's also going to jump down to the servo motor down out of the box this way, and those are the only parts of the circuit that we implemented.
So there were definitely some improvements that we could have made, such as while we were at FEDD, one of our batteries died and caused our motor not to quite go down all the way, or want to go down at all. So we had to replace that, and by the end of FEDD, that second battery was dead as well, so we would have definitely wanted to bring more batteries and also give more time for testing so that we could have figured out what the issue was and figure out that it was a dead battery and not something wrong with the code or anything like that while we were at FEDD. So some more testing time after or before FEDD definitely would have helped us.
So advice to freshmen is don't really take your take your time and don't rush. Like, I mean, you want to create a good product that's going to last at FEDD, and if something is possible to go wrong, it probably will go wrong, as we found out. Definitely don't wait last minute. You definitely want to like be planning this kind of months in advance. Bring extra parts such as batteries, and make sure to be prepared to work out any problems that may occur at FEDD. Other than that, like if you have something break, like maybe bring like some super glue or something like that.
Yeah. And so here's our here's the final design and its working parts.
You have this front portion here, which raises it, raises the door. And then just to kind of show off the manual portion, you pull it out and you can see the gears right here. And this will allow you to lower it and raise it at any portion if, you know, your battery is dead or you just wanted to manually do it. And then we're just gonna load this back up in here. And then this pink portion here, that just lowers it. So yeah.